In this standing meditation, I'm going to ask you to become aware of different points in your body. They have a parallel to meridians. And we're going to go to each point and just bring awareness of release. Now, I shared with you that I spent the last 3 days looking at waterfalls. And hearkening back to our conversation we just had, I'll tell you what was really surprising, a little bit disappointing, but eye-opening to me, is that people would hike up to this waterfall. I mean, that's a lot of effort. I drove. And they were watching, and they would come and look at the waterfall for about a maximum of 2 minutes and then leave. And this was a repeated pattern, whether they drove, whether they hiked. There was a nice trail, ADA trail, to get to the fall. Isn't that wonderful? And then there was a regular hiking trail, so they accommodated all 3 levels. And no matter which path they came, they only spent 2 minutes. And I was just enthralled with the waterfall, not to say that I'm more, I don't know, advanced or whatever, but maybe more aware, more in tune. And the waterfall had so many stages in it. And this is a really tall waterfall, high waterfall. And so at the top, there were levels of rocks and they were cascading. And it looked to me like a wedding cake, all the tears. And they would tear down. And then at the top of the waterfall, before it went all the way down, it would disperse outward with these heavy drops. So there was this opening. And then it would come back together. And if any of you have ever, as a child on the beach, made sandcastles, and you pile up the dirt and you drip the water over the sandcastles, and then the sand makes this frozen in time dripping shape on the outside of it. I made thousands of those as a child. And the waterfall looked like that. About midway through, all the dispersed water comes back together, and it becomes this very dense V shape, 100 V shapes at all different levels. So it looked like that sandcastle. And then at the bottom, it crashes. And what happens with the crash? All that power and force, it dispersed into this mist, and the disbursement was outward, forward, back, and then of course there was a penetration underneath the water, but this disbursement almost looked like steam, and it was all around. So all of these dynamics were occurring with this same singular natural event of the waterfall. So much to study there. And bringing that then into our Tai Chi today and into our standing meditation. You can choose whichever part of that waterfall that you want to bring into this expression. As we move down the body, you might think of it as the waterfall and the draping of that waterfall, the heaviness of that water, but at the same time the mist of the floating up and the dissipating. If you just want to try to embody one of those, that's fine, the releasing downward. But I find that nature teaches us, and when we observe it in great detail, we can better bring that into our experience with our Tai Chi or our standing meditation. So as we go through these parts of our body, use that visualization of the waterfall or become the waterfall, and whatever part of it you want to bring into the sensation. The first point is the crown of the head, which is the top of the head. So I would like for you to just make a touch there and make sure that there's the crown or the high point of the head, and it's just about 2 inches in front of that. So that you're acutely aware of that point. Now, directly opposite of that on a direct line is the bottom part, is where the perineal floor is. So if you were to squeeze your perineal floor, just that would bring your awareness to that opposite point. So you have the crown of your head, and then the perineal floor. Now, we'll start at the top of the head. The next one is your third dantian. Then the next one is the spot underneath your collarbone, both spots right there. When I tell you to hold a rope, tie a rope there and put a weight at it, That's where the rope is tied. Then we have our heart, the dantian, the perineal floor, then these two parts right inside your knees. Go settle. Then the two parts inside your ankles. So right here and here. No, no. Then you're going to put your awareness underneath the toes, like at the balls of the feet, right along here underneath the toes. And then at the bubbling well, which is right smack dab in the middle. Well, I'm wearing these light colored shoes so you can really see my feet. And I do apologize, I'm going to have to keep on Monty to not lick. Okay, so now you know those points when I communicate to you for us to be at those points. Now, settle. Monty, settle. All right. We'll just do this without any music at this point. Now, you're standing in a tall stance. Does not have to be your Tai Chi stance, just like you're standing somewhere casually, but your knees are slightly bent and you align your bones as much as you're able. Now, let's start at the crown of the head and feel your scalp. And you can imagine that waterfall and just releasing the scalp so that if water was hitting your head, it would just... And now go to your third dantian and release there. So we're always adding on to the release. As you've released the third dantian, your scalp remains released. And now go to the points below your collarbone. And then to your heart, your second dantian. And then to your dantian. Then the perineal floor. And then the points on the inside of your knees. The inside of your ankles. And then just drawing a line of awareness to the balls of your feet, the balls of your big toe, the next toe, working outward. And then to the bubbling well. And now I want you to imagine that with your two bubbling well, that you're standing on water. Now we're going to do it one more time, but a little bit more quickly. Going to your scalp. Release to the third dantian, to the areas below the collarbone, to the heart, the lower dantian, the perineal floor. To the inside knees, inside ankles, working from the big toe, ball of your foot, to the pinky toe, and to the bubbling well. And now standing on water. And now remember the story of the waterfall and the mist bursting upward and outward in all directions. So now fill your lower legs with that mist and your upper legs, and feel it growing upward towards your trunk, filling the trunk, the shoulders, the neck. And now your arms are filling, and they flow upward with the rising water. Bringing your wrists together. And then drawing up from that water that you're standing on, draw it up, bringing hydraulic pressure into your bones, opening the joints. Blossom out. And it's a combination of letting the waterfall flow over you and the mist rising you up. And let a cascade falling between the crown of your head through a tube in front of your spine to the perineal floor, to the inside of your knees, ankles, under the feet, and standing on the water. Now let your shoulders fill with a lightness. They're released and airy and light. A buoyancy takes over your arms, and bring that, inviting it into your trunk. Allow the earth to hold you. Feeling your spine elongating and releasing, almost as if the spine is sighing. Now release your elbows down and place the lightness and buoyancy between your hands. Play with that space, breathing your spirit into the space and expanding it as far as your mind and heart will allow. You're now the nucleus inside a big energy body, and you can release and float in the middle of that energy. Bringing your arms back together makes you aware of the density of the nucleus. You can rest on that density. And like that mist expanding outward, feel it all around you. Release in it, float your whole body in that space. Your body floats as you rest on the density of a nucleus inside your energy ball. And we'll do one more metaphorical breath of expansion into the space between your hands and around your body. Float in that space. And as you bring your arms together, find a point of equilibrium between closing, condensing, and opening, expanding. Make it as comfortable as possible and just slow down into that space, balancing in that equilibrium. If your hands feel light, let your hands fill the rest of your body with the same quality. All parts connected. And then when you're ready, release. Resting your awareness in the bubbling wells, standing on that water. Finding your true posture, and through that, your true self. And when you're ready, take a nice breath in, release, and breathe out. Thank you for joining me in that standing Qigong.